Welcome back to another edition of Gary's Record Collection. This time out, we are headed to television, a compilation album that is not music, believe it or not. It's comedy. It is probably just from one of the funniest shows in the 70s. It's right. It's called Zingers from the Hollywood Squares. Man, if you remember the Hollywood Squares, the whole thing there was, it was like, I mean, it was tic-tac-toe, right? And then so the stars were in each square. People called on them. They tried to make tic-tac-toe. So the whole thing, though, was like all of the answers, like all the celebrities, always had kind of like a funny, usually had a funny joke response to that. And turns out that they actually knew the questions were coming up. And so they could figure out, them or the writers could figure out the joke, and then work on the answer, and like they could know the answer or they could not. And it was a whole thing that they tried to pull off. But the funniest part, though, were the jokes, because they would just say anything. And much like the Match Game, I think what they did was they recorded 5 shows all at a time, and then maybe they did 3 in the afternoon and took a dinner break and did a little drinking and recorded a couple of more, because by the time you get to those Thursday, Friday shows, they're just everybody's just laughing like crazy. So we're going to listen to some of this. This is great because it's 40 minutes long, the whole album, and it's just nothing but zingers. And these zingers are like, 30 seconds a piece, maybe. And so they're just one after the other, and it's just nonstop. And it feels like it goes on, and they're not running out of material, which they didn't, because they were on for so many years. Here it is, Zingers from the Hollywood Squares.
Welcome to the Hollywood Squares. Hello, Sky.
I'd like to start with Paul Lynde, please.
Paul Lynde.
In Alice in Wonderland,
the biggest offender.
Who kept crying, "I'm late, I'm late"?
Alice and her mother's sick about it.
That's a good start, I'll tell you.
Yeah. Right?
Done?
Let me try Rosemary, please.
Yeah, why don't you try Rosemary? That wouldn't be a bad idea.
According to Fernandez, dear, is it okay for a woman to let a stranger buy her a drink?
I'll settle for that. I'll settle for anything.
Charlie Weaver, please.
An 80-year-old doctor in Wisconsin, A.J. Quick, has recently developed something important, and he named it after himself. What did A.J. Quick name? What is it?
80 years old?
Mm-hmm.
I'd say the Quickie.
No, that's terrible.
Ted, go right ahead, sir.
I'll take Paul Lynde.
According to Amy Vanderbilt, do you tip in a motel just as you would in a hotel?
For a half an hour?
Let's start with Red Fox, please.
Yes, from Sanford and Son, here on NBC, my buddy Red. Say, are most stolen cars recovered?
I had one recovered in a zebra once.
Oh, man.
Pick a star.
McLean Stevenson, please.
$400 and the championship. According to the book, A Fruit is Born. Did you read A Fruit is Born?
I wrote it.
Oh. What country produces more fruit than any other country in the world?
I'd say West Los Angeles. Or possibly Hollywood.
Okay, Paul Lynde, please.
Paul, this is for $1,200 in the championship. Dale Evans recently revealed the 3 secrets behind her happy marriage with Roy Rogers. Listen carefully. We work together, we pray together, and we're darn good... What?
In the saddle.
Wendy?
Donuts.
Don, you've been having trouble getting to sleep. Or are you probably a man or a woman?
That's what's been keeping me awake at night.
It is your turn to start this round, Ray.
Paul Lynde, please.
Paul, a nationwide survey of personnel directors was recently taken. And they were asked if they would hire a girl who showed up for an interview in a see-through blouse. What did most of them say?
Bring her in.
Dennis, pick a star.
Don Rickles, please.
Hi, Don.
Hi. If you get a chance, we could use heat in the apartment.
Say, Don, you are very superstitious, okay?
Okay.
All right, so you go... So you go to a brook and you catch a frog. Then you rub it on your face. Just what is that supposed to do?
That's supposed to put you in a state hospital.
The one and only Paul Lynde.
The one and only. Mr. Only. True or false? Some airlines now give you a thorough frisking before permitting you to board the plane.
Well, that's the only reason I fly.
Jan Murray.
This is for $1,000 in a tie game. What is the worst punishment you can get for bigamy in California?
2 mother-in-laws.
Oh, big Jan.
Terrible.
Paul, in what famous book will you read about a talking ass who wonders why it's being beaten?
I read it, The Joy of Sex.
Oh, man. Terrible.
Frank, your turn.
Marty Allen, please.
For $250, Oscar Wilde once said of it, "It is the perfect type of a perfect pleasure. It is exquisite, yet it leaves you unsatisfied." What was he referring to?
A legitimate massage parlor.
Paul Lynde.
True or false? Nylon is stronger than steel.
But steel panties don't turn me on.
Jeez.
Well, if we located a Neanderthal man who happened to be still alive, could he be taught to speak English, a Neanderthal man?
A Neanderthal man. Now, well, we're in the ballpark.
Oh, the 2,000-year-old man.
I was back there, Dan, way back. I'm not talking George M. Cohen. I'm saying way back. I knew a Neanderthal man, short, with bandy legs. I taught him how to talk. I taught him 3 words. I taught him cave, woman, and rock. He married a rock.
Paul Lynde to block. Dean Martin has been known to walk up 8 flights of stairs rather than do something he hates to do. What?
Sleep alone.
Rosemary.
Rosemary 4, $500, true or false? You can make a camel more cooperative by giving it tobacco and perfume.
Well, you can get an awful lot out of me that way.
Jeez.
Paul Lynde to win.
$500 in the tie game. The great writer George Bernard Shaw once wrote, "It's such a wonderful thing. What a crime to waste it on children." What is it?
A whipping.
I'll go with Suzanne Flechette.
At last.
Is the padded bra industry in
Why
bad...
would you give me this question?
Paul Lynde.
Not the secret square, but $800 in the championship, Paul. We all know, Paul, that men have female hormones in their bodies. But does a woman have male hormones in her body?
Occasionally.
Take a stab, didn't it?
Paul Lynde, please.
If you had your choice, Paul, would you rather be kicked by a mule or by an ostrich?
They both sound pretty good to me.
Jeez.
Paul Lynde.
Nudist camps often advertise that they offer the 3 R's. Now, 2 of the 3 R's are rest and relaxation. What is the 3rd R of the nudist camps?
Ready, wet.
Jeez. That's so ridiculous. Oh man, and I mean, Paul Lynde was just like the guy for that show. It was he was a center square. He was tremendous on that. Anytime he was not on, it was just a letdown because you could always count on Paul Lynde for a great zinger. And speaking of zingers, I mean, I only found this out after I was doing a little bit of research on the album. I just did a Google search for the record cover to make it easy to paste in. And what I found was, like, this actually came, they also put out books called Zingers from the Hollywood Squares. They had a book called, here it is, Peter Marshall right on the top, and you got the guests. And believe it or not, they had more zingers from the Hollywood Squares. So all of these one-liners were really, stuff to keep, stuff to preserve, and basically capitalize on. They sold a ton. Now, the only thing is like now, a lot of these jokes probably aren't PC. And that's why we don't see reruns anymore on TV of the Hollywood Squares. There was a question at one point whether all the tapes were still in existence. And Game Show Network back in the 90s ran 130 episodes. But I mean, if you're on, 240 work days in a year plus a couple of times at night, there's more than 130 episodes out there, and they were on for years. And the question is like, do the tapes still exist? Have they been preserved? And then could you even run them? And I don't know. It's just comedy from the 70s was just a different era. You could get away with so much more than you can today. I mean, just Paul Lynde, like, dancing the line on whether something is appropriate or not. It's like, what was the line about the nylons and the steel panties or whatever? It's like, how do you get away with that even today? Because people would be offended, and it's too bad. But at least we have, on YouTube, there are a bunch of Hollywood Squares clips that you can watch. These actually aired. One of the clips said, "Did this actually air?" And it was included the Red Fox that we heard in this. And yeah, it aired. These were funny, and people didn't bat an eye. They thought it was great. And now everybody's all uptight about everything. You can't say anything bad about anybody, and you can't disparage anybody or imply disparagement, I guess. So, I think if they remade the Hollywood Squares today, and they actually have remade it, if they remade it today, it just wouldn't be the same. They tried to remake Match Game too, and I think when you're trying to force that humor and you're trying to be over the top, or you're trying to be ironic or whatever, it just falls flat. These guys were just rattling these off like it was no problem, because that was their act. That was, you get Don Rickles up there and he'll just say anything, but now it's going to be forced in the 21st century. So unfortunate. But the good news is we've got Zingers from the Hollywood Squares on vinyl. It was actually put out on CD as part of Peter Marshall's biography. So a good copy of it does exist. You can track it down either way. I think it's fun. It's like a party record. You put it on and you just let people listen to it, and you laugh for 40 minutes and then get another drink, because it's pretty funny. So there you have it. Zingers from the Hollywood Squares. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you next time on Gary's Record Collection.